Live here. All right. All right. There we go. Okay, let's go live with Instagram. I've got to get a little bit more perfect. See if that helps. That help or did that hurt? Oh, that hurt. Bear with me. Instagram's vertical. I got to be more perfect with it. All right. I'm going to let's try to get so I can see everybody at one time. There we go. Let everybody get in. What's going on, everybody? Monday. How's everybody's week? I had an insane weekend for everybody who was following my Instagram story. I guess if you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook, maybe you didn't hear about this one. Or I guess maybe not. I was mentioning it on live. Okay, so my wife and I got invited. Well, no, I got to take this all the way back. Last summer, we are celebrating, what's going to be our fourth child. She ended up being born yesterday, July 23rd, but a year prior. We were celebrating our 12th anniversary on July 24th. My wife was turning 39 last summer on the 13th of August. I was turning 40 last summer on the 29th of August. And because of the campaign, it was too crazy. Like, we basically skipped all of it. And we just decided we were going to do something next summer. We'll do something maybe a little bit bigger. January, a friend of ours tells us that she's going to do this big 40th birthday in Mexico. Invite, 75 couples. It was almost be like a wedding. And so, I looked at my wife and I was like, what do you think? Should we just do this? It was the weekend before our anniversary, or we landed yesterday. Our anniversary is today. So almost perfect timing. I'm like, we could go celebrate them, kind of be like a, add-on anniversary trip. So we decided to do it. We booked the trip, February, March of last year. And then the mold issue happened at the house where we found black mold everywhere. We basically had to vacate the house. We were living in an Airbnb. It was brutal. We were in survival mode, really struggling. That was just an awful 3 months. And so we looked at each other. We were like, dang, I don't know if going on this trip is the best move. Maybe we should skip it. And so we called the hotel, right? We were staying at this hotel. We're like, hey, can we potentially get a refund? And they were like, nope. We're like, well, can we transfer the stay somewhere else? They were like, nope. So we were like, okay, crap. And it was it was a nicer hotel. It was more on the expensive side. So we basically decide, okay, we've got to do it. No backing out. We find out our passports are expired, right? For passports, you can't, if it's 6 months prior to you leaving, you can't go anywhere, right? And so we were at that window where we kind of had to make the decision, do we send the passport in, try to get it expedited, but run the risk of it not getting finished in time, which happens to be a full thing right now? Or do we wait till the 14-day window, we have our flights, and then do we schedule an appointment and go to the federal building and pick it up same day? Or day of. So that's basically what we decide to do. Day 14, we call the federal building, we schedule a meeting, and the meeting is set for the 19th. So that's on Wednesday. And we were like, is it too close? Is there a chance that we're not going to get the passport in time? No, you have no problem. They print them that day. So we have a flight that leaves 9:30 on Thursday. I'm at the federal building with my wife Wednesday. And we get there, our appointment's at 11. I get there at 10. We don't even get to a booth until 1, right? We've been there for a long time. Right when we walk up, they go, our systems are down. We're not printing anything. No passports coming out. So my heart sinks. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. The trip is Friday, Saturday, and then leave Sunday. And Friday was like where it was all happening. Like all the guys were going to play this like really, really rad golf course. The girls were doing, massages, and then there was going to be a party that night. And I'm like, babe, we've got to get there that night, or we've got to get there on Thursday. So for everybody that was on this live or was watching my story, we were trying to figure out a solution on how to get to Mexico on Thursday. The best we could do, there was a flight Friday morning at 6 a.m. We would get to Mexico 11:30 on Friday. I'd miss golf, she'd miss the spa. We'd catch everybody for like midday, and then we'd go to the party. That was not an ideal situation. But we found a flight out of Tijuana that was leaving at 6 at night. That was our Hail Mary. So we go to the federal building. The window opens at 1. The security guard on the way out, if you remember, told me, get there 2 hours early. Like, there's gonna be a psycho line. I get there 3 hours early. Like, I'm not playing. Like, I'm gonna try to get to Mexico to the best of my ability. I get in the line at maybe 2:30, 10:30. No, I get there at 10. Yeah, it's 3 hours early. 2.5, 3 hours early. I'm number 3 in line. Before you know it, there's 400 people in line. So like that was the right call. There were so many people that the security guard comes up and he goes, we're gonna open the window early. I'm like, okay, like let's say less, let's go. They open it at 12:30. The person that's first in line goes up to the window, and you could just tell like it was like this like shock look. Passport wasn't ready. They move over, right? Person in front of me goes, passport's not ready. They move them over. All of a sudden my heart sinks. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. We got this far. My passport's not going to be ready. So I walk up to the booth and I was like, you have bad news for me, right? And he's like, I don't know. Let's check your name. Looks at my name, looks at my wife's name, and he goes, no, they should be ready. So he looks and there's 4 boxes, right? He's going through the first box, looking through all the things, no passport, moves on to the next, right? Going through, nothing there, moves on to the next. Once he did that, I had this feeling like, okay, if he gets my passport, we're gonna make it to Mexico, fly out, this whole thing's gonna work. If he doesn't, it's an end. Like we're taking the L. Gets to the second to last box, goes through all the papers, doesn't pull one out. And I'm like, please, please, please be in the last box, right? He's doing this, gets to the end, pulls it out, and I just felt it. I'm like, we are getting there. Grab the passport, passport's in hand at 12:30. My wife's in the parking lot. I'm like, babe, pull up, we are out of here. I jump in the car, look at traffic. It's about 3.5 hours to the border. So 12:31, that gets us there at about 4, right? Flight's at 6. So I'm like, we've got this. Like we are nailing it. We buy the flight. I've never flown out of Tijuana. So in San Diego, anybody watching this that lives in San Diego, they've got this like sick terminal that basically just, you check in ultimately in San Diego and then you walk this terminal straight into the airport. And so I call a buddy and like, hey dude, I'm on this mission right now. We're trying to get to the border. He lived in San Diego. I was like, what do I need to know? And he's like, you got to get these tickets. You got to find a parking spot. Like it's not ideal to leave your car. I'm like, okay, there's no parking. Like all the parking spots are gone. And so I hang up the phone with him. I'm like, babe, we're just going to mission it. Like we'll figure out a place to park this thing. Like who cares? Like we are getting to Mexico. And he calls me back and he goes, dude, I'm in town. Meet me off of, I can't even remember where we met him, Oceanside. I'm going to drop you off at the border and I'll park your car somewhere else in San Diego, somewhere like Point Loma. I'm like, all right, cool. So by the time we pick him up, traffic starts getting worse. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, we're starting to get close. Like how much time do we need to get in? We end up getting to the border at 4:30. So I'm like, I think we did it. He drops us off. We walk through. If anybody has not done this yet, if anybody's not flown out of Tijuana from San Diego, like the CBX, I think, it was so easy. We were through passports in the airport in like 15 minutes. It was ideal. So we end up pulling it, right? We get on the flight, get to Mexico, 11:30 Thursday night. So that means I'm here for all the golf, like full trip. We end up getting there. We go to bed, we keep it mellow. I wake up the next morning to play golf, And for any of the golfers, we played this course. It's the only course in the world with a natural island green. They call it the whale's tail. That was pretty tight. End up having a sick day the last day. This was yesterday. I go out swimming with a buddy. There's like this big kind of like rock island out there. We swim out there. It's maybe like a quarter mile of the way. And there was kind of a shallow part. I kind of not squeak by. My leg kind of like goes down and brushes the coral. I get like, not 60, I probably get 30 like spines in my foot. Right when it happened, I was like, crap. Look at my foot. As I look at my buddy, he does the same thing, except he gets them on his feet, his hands. So we end up having to swim in. We've got to go to the doctor. We've got to get all these things pulled out. Other than that, it was a pretty killer trip. It was pretty epic. So it worked. Everything ended up being amazing. The story on getting there ended up being the highlight because it worked out. If it wouldn't have worked out, it would have sucked. But that was my weekend. It was a full success. So now on to you guys. Less of me. How was everybody's weekend? How's everybody's week? How are we looking? Anything exciting happen? Anything big happen? From Beek to every day, what a day. Gonna spend it all with you. What a legend. And then today's mine and my wife's 14th anniversary, which is we didn't really do much today. I guess that was over the weekend we did everything. So how's everything with you guys? How was the weekend? Any wins? And you've got nothing better to do? At Killjoy, maybe Killjoy said something crazy over here. Oh, Killjoy to 5 people, 3 of which are, I don't know, big dog. Mikey, you still keep up with skateboarding current events. Wanted to get your thoughts on X Games. I watched the highlights on Instagram. I wanted to go to it, but it was the Mexico weekend, so I ended up not making it to it. But I don't know, the course looks sick. Did anybody here watch X Games? What'd you guys think? X Games is going through like a revamp, right? Got ESPN let it go. I think somebody bought them out. They're trying to kind of rebuild it. But I didn't see like how big it was. I didn't see if it was, I don't know if it was considered a success. I don't know. I am not sure. Very busy weekend, shopping, grandson's B-Day, gift was a big win, and a celebration of life. That is amazing. Happy birthday to him. I missed the single stop X Games from back in the day. Used to have an all or nothing feel. Yeah, I used to like those too. I agree with you, 100%. All right, my wife lost. All right. What about, let's look over at YouTube. Can we please get the old MikeyDays theme song from the barracks for this new segment? I got to do it. I've got to do it. I'll call Barra today. I'll try to get it. I'll do a whole intro. We're going to start doing like actual podcasts called MikeyDays. I think that would be rad. I don't know. Anybody watch X Games? Utah won, right? I saw Nyjah got second. Busy weekend. Chef life is hard. Be nice to your busy restaurants on Friday and Saturday. Being a chef is hard. I agree with you. And when restaurants are busy, I have a friend who's a chef, so I totally relate with what you're saying. Sometimes you go and you get frustrated when it takes long, and then all of a sudden you feel this pressure of like thinking your server's bad, or, I mean, at the end of the day, like if the demand's there, that's what you're signing up for, going out on a Friday or Saturday. It's great for the business. Like it's really, really good for them. So, but I didn't understand the pressure or how difficult it is to get through that till I had a friend that was a chef. What everybody think about, what's going on? I haven't even looked at anything financial the last 4 or 5 days. Anything big happen? I saw Elon changed Twitter to X, and people are not stoked on it. What do you guys think about that? Did you guys like Twitter better? Do you think he should not change the name? I never liked the name Twitter. I never liked the bird. I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts? I know that's typically not what you do. Like Zuckerberg got a bunch of flack when he changed Facebook to Meta. From a marketing standpoint, I get it. I think, it takes a long time to build brand recognition, brand integrity, but the rollout of it, I liked. I thought it was cool that he did that. Any thoughts on it? Is Wes Kramer off DC? I don't know if Wes is off DC. That's a good question. This sounds awful to say, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is, not because of Wes. Through my experience, I don't know if anyone has that long with DC, but I hope he's doing well. He probably had some very expensive counsel that recommended this. He's smart enough to take their advice, and he tends to make smart decisions. Yeah, you know what I know people are opinionated about Elon. There's people that love him. There's people that hate him. What I like, I'm an Elon fan. I think it's rad what he does. One thing I like about Elon, and I don't necessarily hear, or I don't typically hear a lot of people talk about this. Elon takes risk. Like, usually what you see when people get money is they stop taking risk, and it just goes into like preservation mode. Not just with their money, they won't even take like a risk to their ego. This guy like goes for it financially and ego wise to try to create something new. I have a lot of respect for that. There's not a lot of people you see at that caliber that do that. There's not even a lot of people you see way further down than him. Like, even people who get to that point of like, let's call it 5 mil, 10 mil, they stop taking risk. So I kind of like that he still does. Imagine having to block me for a GIF. Who got blocked? Why is it so laggy, Mikey? Oh, if it's laggy, you know what I might have to do? I might have to switch it up if it's lagging. That's unfortunate if it is. You know what? I'm going to switch it up. I know what we're going to do. I got this. Okay. We're going to keep... I know what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. Here we go. Okay, we're going to keep YouTube on. We're going to keep Facebook on. We are going to throw Instagram on here because it is too laggy. Let's get this one. This will be better. Yeah, excited to see how it shakes out. More like WeChat. I agree. I think it's going to be cool too. All right, we're jumping onto this one. Gosh darn it, I was on the wrong account. Oh no, wait, am I on Mikey Taylor right now? Yeah. Wow, what a mess. All right, I'm gonna jump on here because this model was lagging for some reason. Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. I know he's like trying to do like a whole new. Okay, I heard from somebody. He didn't give me much information, but he saw the deck that Elon was using to raise money for this X company. And one thing he did say is what he's building has nothing. It's not Twitter anymore. Like what we see Twitter as, this new company is not that. And so knowing what he's trying to build out, I can see why he's trying to rebrand it. But I love the risk. Like I love that he's taking risks still. All right, that should be better on Instagram. I had to switch off the multi-stream. But yeah, people aren't feeling it. People are really upset about the name. I don't know. What do you guys think of Elon? I know he's you love him or hate him. I get that. I don't know. I just think I like him. I think what he does is, what he's created is insane. Like he tends to do the impossible. I love that. I think he's funny. Like, I don't know, a lot of billionaires that I know, or even that are like out there, they don't seem to be that funny. So I like that he's funny, but I love that he takes risk. I think that's a huge one. It's a porn name. Yeah. I heard that one. I get it. Yeah, that one's interesting. Yeah. Elon is a genius and has good intentions. That's what I tend to believe as well. Now, there's some things that I don't agree with Elon on, like the whole Neuralink, what he's trying to create there. I don't like anything about that. Like that part is, very not aligned with my view, but I do believe that he's doing it for the right intentions on his end. We just don't have the same opinion there. Wings and Arrows went live recently. Are you partnered in that? Cameron, that's a good question. Okay, so one of my partners in St. Archer launched Wings and Arrows. I'm an investor in the parent company, and then the parent company owns a good amount of brands now. They own Ashland, which is a seltzer brand, Villager, which is a RTD or a ready to drink, Mucho Aloha, which is Mucho Aloha's is it Voyager? Gosh, there's so many of them. Voyager is the hard lemonade. Mucho Aloha is crap. There's too many for me to keep up. Wings and Arrows is the new beer. So yeah, I'm an investor in it. Josh was my partner with St. Archer. He crushes it, so I'm stoked to be involved with that. All right, let's see what's going on. How's everybody's Monday? Anything new today? Any wins? Anything you're setting up for? I think Neuralink is cool for disabled people. Yeah, like Mike Mo can't wait for Neuralink. He's like, it's going to fix my drop foot. So I agree with you on that one. I think it is good for that. I just personally have a hard time with the whole like transhumanism thing or plugging in people and computer. I don't know, that is where I'm a little uncomfortable. So we just have a different view there, but I'm a big fan of his. I think what he does is crazy. If Neuralink can help disabled people walk again and people to see again when they're blind, it's unlike anyone has ever done. Totally agree. Nice haircut. Thank you. My wife is on me about my hair. She wants me to change it up. She's like, you've been doing the same thing for too long. She wants me to grow it out. And I'm like, my hair's like naturally a little curvy or wavy. She wants me to like let that go. So she wants me to grow out the sides. I told her I'll try it out. So this is a test for my wife. We'll see how it goes. Did you watch the X Games? I missed it. I saw the highlights. I saw a couple of Nija's tricks. I saw a couple of Yuto's tricks. The 270 nose slide was psycho. He is pretty unreal. Send me that after you're done. Legend. All right. Noah Erickson, what's going on, my man? When was the last time you saw Mo? Glassy is still all I know. Yeah, you know what? That just reminded me. Mike Mo texted me today, asked if I wanted to golf with him at 4. And I didn't hit him back. I should have. I got to hit him. He's playing golf right now, which I would have loved to play with him. But I stepped on a coral in Mexico, and I've got like 30 needles that I had to get taken out of my foot. So they're not in there, but my foot's super sore. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to golf for hopefully only a week or so. Mikey, tips on backside flips. Backside flips were I was not good at that trick. Mike Mo kind of gave me the hack. Front foot goes high, kind of like right below next to the front bolts. Back foot goes on the right or the opposite end of the board, almost like you're doing a tray flip. Don't have the toe like crazy hung over, but put your toe on the far edge, and all of a sudden it's like backside flip's way easier. I don't know. That one worked for me when he told me that. Bring back DVS Skatemore hair, the long hair. Oh, right? Jen, my wife did not like that hair. Long hair, Mikey T again. I got to get my wife on board for that one. My kids would actually probably be down for that. Sending positive vibes your way, my guy. Good luck with that. I didn't see what happened. Somebody let me know what happened there. I just saw that Kevion lost his passport and he needs a new one ASAP. Help him if you can. Okay, I'm going to hit up Kevion after this. When are you coming to Maui to be on A Better Life with Brandon Turner? I was in Maui in April. I was scheduled to be on the podcast with Brandon, and we got the calendar wrong. Like both of our assistants scheduled it. Just the communication was off probably on our end and how we communicated to them. But I thought I was going to do it that week. He was out of town that week. We missed each other. So we'll do the podcast. We just don't know when yet. I was supposed to do it that time when I was over there. What is Mike Mo doing these days? Mike Mo is running Glassy. He is like all in on Glassy. They do, is it ABD? No, ABC, right? Already been done. Is it ABD or ABC? He's got a whole like NFT card brand and it like crushes it. I'm out. Remember to take your time resting, hustling. Hey, I appreciate you. Have a phenomenal rest of the week. Do you own any crypto? I own a little bit of crypto. Not a ton. I own enough that if I lose it, I'm totally good. It doesn't matter. I own nothing that outrageous. It's pretty like, I would say standard coins, but not a ton. Hustling and grinding, need a break. Cheers from City Heights Skate Park. Okay, legend, enjoy it. I appreciate that. ABD, thank you. Yeah, Mike Mo runs ABD. Mike Mo's actually like Mike Mo's obsessive. Like any good skater typically has to be more obsessive. And when you could take the obsession and translate that into another asset class or another industry, you end up doing really well. Mike Mo got really good at transferring the obsession over to Glassy and then ABD. So he's actually really, really good businessman, and now he's obsessed with golf. So he's golfing a lot too. Mike Mo and I talk all the time. He's seriously amazing. Do you own any gold? I don't own any gold. I'm not a gold fan, actually. Like I understand it. I understand why people buy it. But for me personally, I typically invest in productive assets. I want to invest in something that's, it's creating jobs, it's growing the economy. That's typically what I like investing in. Gold, it just doesn't really do much. I mean, it's a hedge, so I shouldn't say it like that. Like, I think there's a very, very good argument to invest in gold. I just personally don't. But to each his own. I think that's kind of the beauty about investing, that there's really not one size fits all. It really needs to be built out for you. Good thing about real estate is that it has value independently of the currency. Look, 1000%. It's actually one of my favorite things about real estate. Well, I should say this actually, because you know what I get asked a lot is, why did I decide to invest in, I originally invested in storage units, but when we started the company, a lot of people asked why I started investing in multifamily and why I didn't invest in single family, in residential. And it was kind of exactly what you just said. Maybe there's a little bit more to it. I like controlling value. Like I like the idea of you being better at running business. And if you're better at it, you get a bigger payday. Where single family, because it was valued on comps, right? Like your house sells for, somewhere around what the last house like yours sold in the neighborhood. I didn't like that. It felt like I had zero control. Where with commercial real estate, it's valued off your income, right? Your net operating income is really how you get to a value when it's valued off cap rate. And so I liked the idea that if we could drive more revenue or be better about our expenses, that resulted in a higher income or a higher valuation. And that's why I kind of went towards multifamily. It was a big reason. I would say the second one was just the ability to do it at scale. I thought it was easier to negotiate one project, do due diligence on one project, get financing for one project that had 50 units, as opposed to having to do that whole kind of process 50 different times to own 50 individual homes. So that's kind of why I went into multifamily storage, same thing. But I love the value aspect of it. I love that if you're better at it, you get a better value. What was your first multifamily deal? My first multifamily deal was a deal in Long Beach. It was a 34 unit apartment. And we bought it in, when did we buy it? 2017, I believe? Wow, so much has happened since then. It's either 17 or 18. And it was run down. It was as slumlord as a building could be. It was awful. And so we went through the process of renovating it and making it an actual cool place to live. And then we ended up refining it when we were finished. We locked in like an insanely low interest rate because of COVID. We did a 10-year loan at 2.6%, which is psycho for a commercial loan. And then we ended up selling it last year we sold it for just under 14 million. So we bought it for 7.3. We put about $3 million into it. So we're 10.3 all in. And then we sold it for about 13.8. So we did pretty good on the project. That was my first one as an active investor. So not a bad start. How expensive was the renovation? About $3 million all in. So it was a big value add. The apartment was, I mean, it needed, to say it needed a ton of work was an understatement. It was like really, really bad. So that was a good project. Anybody else have any first deals? Has anybody done real estate yet? I want to hear about your guys' first deals. How do you see design in influencing real estate? Okay, that's actually a really good question. So when you get into single family, like for those that get into, if you get into short-term rentals, Airbnb, if you're going to flip homes, even if you're going to like renovate homes and put them into long-term rentals, or now people are doing, what is it? MTR, is that what it is? Monthly, I don't know, what does that even stand for? Is it monthly rentals? Month-term rentals? I don't know. Design really plays, even how I'm saying that, let me be careful with what I'm saying. They understand that design plays a big impact. It's probably the better way to say it. As you get into the commercial stuff, or you start doing it at scale, it seems like those investors don't value design as much as I value it. Or I would say the minority value it. They're typically just looking at numbers. Like, what are we buying this for? How much can we put in? What can we rent it for? And let's put in as little as possible to capture that rent. And I get it. I get why they have to do it that way. But I think design plays a huge part for millennial and Gen Z, maybe some Gen X, but design is everything. It's like for a culture, for a generation that, one, is participating in social media, two, experience and vibe and lifestyle is so valuable for, millennial generation, I think Gen Z as well, that I think design plays a big part on lease up. I think it plays a big part on maintaining occupancy, if you can manage the property correctly. But at the end of the day, I think people want to live somewhere cool. And when they're posting stories or Instagram, whatever they're posting on, I think they want their background to be cool. I think they want to be part of a rad place to live. So I think design is really important. And honestly, that's a big reason why I picked multifamily. Like, I felt like part of my skill set was on the design and marketing and experience side. And I thought I could apply that into multifamily way more than I could storage, that's for sure. Office, I think you can really, lean in on that one. Retail, I think you can lean in on that one. I just didn't like those asset classes. How did you get initial $7 million to purchase that first multifamily? Okay, Parker Wood raised capital. So we raised for that project $3.5 million. So how it typically works, you've got to lock it up. You got to get it under contract. And when you get it under contract, you need to put down what they call your earnest. And that's usually around 3% of the purchase. So for that, myself and my partners had that money. And then we went out and raised the money. Now there's a point where you get through your due diligence and then you have a date where your money has to go hard. Once your money's hard, you're not getting that money back if you don't close. So if you don't close, that money goes to the owner. So that's something you need to be mindful of if you're raising money, that if you don't raise the money, that money's at risk, your earnest is at risk. But we basically created a investment summary. We went out, we raised money from investors. The $3.5 million came in. We took out a loan for the rest. And then as it started, basically got to a point of stabilization, we refied into a long-term loan, started cash flowing. And then of course, when we sold it, we were able to distribute money to investors. So the first investment we raised money for, and we've raised money for every project since then. We're stepping into a new capital raise right now. It's my belief that and look, there's two trains of thought here, or two schools of thought. Some people don't like raising money. Some people think it's, why dilute the return by bringing a bunch of people in? And I totally understand that one. It's my perspective though, that if you're not raising money because you don't have opportunity, right? Because if you're only buying based on the dollars you can have, you're not really going after all the opportunity. You're only going after what you can purchase. So if you're a company that gets really good at finding good deals, you've got to raise money to capture the opportunity. So I think that's the model I've always followed. I want the opportunity. I want to go after it. I want to bring as many people along this ride with me. So that's what we go out and do. We've been raising money since we started the company. We do it when we have projects. And right now we've got projects. We just closed on one in San Diego about 4 weeks ago. We have 1, 2, 3 more that we're closing on, one next month, one following that, and then one I think going to come probably end of first quarter next year. And then if we don't have any more deals, maybe we won't raise money for a little bit, but the second deals pick up, we raise more money. And honestly, if you know how to do that, that's why people say you have to have money to build wealth. You don't. You have to have a skill set. And then if you have a skill set, you can go bring money in to... Wealthy people want opportunity, right? Like people that have money want to make money, and their money, they don't typically want to work for it. They want to sacrifice their time. So they're always looking for good opportunity to place dollars into. So if you can find the opportunity, you can go after it with other people's money. It's such a important talent to have. Does your look affect business, or has that faded over time? Would DVS era hair affect cash flow? That is such a good question. Does my look, or I guess we'd say more of a skater look, affect our business? And if I went back to long hair and a beanie, etc., would that impact our business? The truth is, yes, probably. There's people that, look, skaters, it still has a negative view from the rest of the world, in my perspective. I think it's changing. But there's a lot of people that think skaters are stupid, that we have no responsibility, that we're drug addicts, and we are not to be trusted with anything we do. There's a massive, massive amount of people that think that still. I think that's changing because, in the early 2000s or so, skateboarding became mainstream. And so each generation that comes up, their view of skateboarding has changed, but that's absolutely a hurdle, 100%. I think for me, I'm mindful of it. I try to look a little bit more professional without being full on, suit and tie. But, the longer I do this and the more I'm known as this and the less I'm known as pro skateboarder, that eventually changes. Me becoming a city council member, that helped actually. It's a hurdle. And so, yeah, it would impact my business for sure. Unfortunately, it sucks to say that, but yeah, it does. I mean, look, the reality is there's a part of me that understands it, not saying I think they have an accurate view of skateboarders, but there's a part of me that understands their concern. I mean, think about money, right? This is something that we sacrifice the majority of our time to go out and earn. And so because it takes up so much of our value, which is time, and because it's so difficult to get, when you put money into someone else, or you have someone else manage dollars in an investment, you have to really, really trust them. It's a really big deal. So, if I look like I'm untrustworthy, I'm not getting a lot of people that are going to give me money. Or if somebody's view of me is that I don't know what I'm doing and I'm irresponsible because I'm a skater, well, I'm not raising money, unfortunately. If I was in the tech world, maybe that would be different. But because I'm in real estate, I don't know. They seem to be more risk adverse. Hey, Mikey, closing on a house this weekend. Your content helped me throughout the process. That is amazing. Chris, congratulations. Stoked for you. And I appreciate you as well. Do a new end part, please. It could be so hard for me to do a part these days. Best backsmith ever. I appreciate that. Have a nice day, Steph. Have a phenomenal day as well. Your voice is soothing to people. I think it's non-threatening. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. But I will say, you know what? It's changed now. Like when I first started, it was way more of a hurdle. Like year 1 was brutal. Year 2 was hard. By the time we got to year 5, it got easier. I would say now, like this year, it's a different story. Like I'm starting to become more known for this than what I did as a pro skateboarder. And I think just that it's made it easier to raise capital. I wish that wasn't the case, but it is. What's good, Mikey? Skate fan for a long time. Brady, I appreciate you. Thank you, legend. This is from Dino Brain. I moved from San Jose to the Central Valley near Visalia. We used to skate out there all the time. Visalia Skate Camp. And I'm in an apartment that is twice the size I had in the Bay Area for half the price. I'm finally saving and looking to invest. That's amazing. Congratulations. I know SF is psycho expensive. LA is crazy. San Diego's, there's a lot of markets. I actually heard this really interesting perspective from this person who kind of gave his opinion on what the next 50 years is going to look like for real estate. And what he was saying is, by and large, San Francisco, LA, and San Diego are basically becoming or now are renters. It's a renter-only market. Like the majority of people will not be able to buy homes in those markets, and how that's just spreading throughout the nation because of how undersupplied we are. Right? If we're looking at the national numbers, we're short by what? Is it somewhere around 3+ million homes? And it's going to take us 10 years to get there. But then it's going to take an additional 10 years for us to get to the new number considering population growth, right? So they were basically throwing out this outlook that over the next 10 years, there's going to be, 20, I'm not getting this exactly right, but let's say 20 cities that are going to fall into the SF, LA, San Diego, renters only market. And then by 20 years, it's going to be 30 plus states. And he just keeps building this thing out to where, his view is there won't be that many cities left that you can actually own. And the end of his whole point was you have to build. The only way around this is if you build, and then you have to build more, and then you have to build more. He started going through basically deregulation and allowing this stuff to get up at the speed to solve the deficiency or how undersupplied we are, then catch up to population growth. It's kind of not a optimistic outlook. So I get it. I guess that's all to say. I hear you on the pricing in SF, and it's becoming a problem everywhere, really. What's crazy is, like, I don't know, does anybody follow the World Economic Forum? Or have you ever seen these videos of Klaus Schwab talking about, we'll own nothing and love it? It's hard not to look at what we're seeing in real estate and go, is this what they're talking about? Is this what they're doing? Mikey, back at Familia in Minneapolis. Oh, heck yeah. I haven't been there in so long. I love those guys though. Let's see. I'll go back to Insta for a sec. What made you valuable in your first multifamily deal? what skills did you possess? Okay, so, well, it depends on it depends on what lens you look at it through. For the first multifamily deal, well, let me ask you this. What made me valuable through the investor lens, or what made me valuable with the partners that I started the company with? Because that's actually going to be two different questions, or two different answers. And I guess I'll just answer both of them. I would say what my partners saw in me, and why my partners wanted to start a business with me. I found partners that had something that I didn't have, and also vice versa. My partners they're analytical. They're accountants by trade, CFAs and CFPs. They run models, and they, in my perspective, run risk and return, or they have a really good lens on evaluating what the risk and potential return is. What they are not, their skill is not brand. Their skill is not marketing. It's not. They're not visionary types, and so it seemed like a really good fit. That I had a vision of what I wanted to build. I am not an operator. The first person I find is a COO to help us stay organized, and so we felt like we had something that we had partners who knew what their skill sets were and didn't jump in the lane of the others. So I would say that was by and large the value they saw in me. Also, I'm obsessive and I drive hard forward. I just have an ability of bringing people together and moving forward. The value I think that the investors saw is they weren't now looking at me. Like when we went out to raise money, I wasn't raising money for myself. I was raising money as a collective. I had 4 partners. And so what they saw in us was a team that had been managing real estate for a long time, because I brought partners in that had a lot of experience, that had a great track record. And then when I think they looked at me specifically, the model in which I was going out to find deals and how we were adding value, I think our thesis resonated, right? To give you more context, I'm a relationship person. Like I know how to build relationships. I know how to get in front of people. And one of the selling points when we were going out was I know how to build relationships with brokers. So we're going to get deal flow. Finding the deals is going to be big, but here was kind of the big one is I know where we're going to get the deals, what markets. And my whole model in the beginning was following the creatives, right? I think skaters, artists, musicians, they typically go into areas before they become cool and make them cool, right? They're visionaries by nature. And the only ones that follow that trend are home flippers. They're the ones that come in. The big institutional investors, or those that buy multifamily, they're usually so late on the process. And so for me being a skater and traveling the world, I knew all of these pockets throughout the nation that were either already cool, were on the way of becoming cool, or I felt like I could find a place that was heading in that direction, but was really early on in the process. And so I felt like my targeting of finding areas that had a lot of growth potential put us in a position of being a little bit early, which could result in a bigger return. And then what I wanted to build and the experience I wanted to capture for the tenant was very current, and there weren't a lot of boutique style firms like ours doing it. So I think that's where the investor looked at me and went, oh, that's a good skill. Like I think that would be valuable. And then kind of the second part was we just came off of the exit of St. Archer. Like me, Paul, and Josh sold the business, and the 3 of us went in opposite directions. So Josh stayed in beverage, Paul focused on career and primitive, and I went into this business. And we all 3 had different skill sets that we brought to the table, but there were a lot of investors that made a lot of money by investing in our business, and they wanted to be involved in the next project or the next business. So for myself, I had a lot of investors that were investors in St. Archer. And for Josh, he had the same. A lot of investors went with Josh as well. I mean, even me, like I invested into Josh's brands also. So that's what I think. That was maybe a long way to get there, but I think that's the value they saw in me. Still need help with the podcast. I'm getting closer. Well, I'm definitely getting closer. Now it's just a time thing. It's like when I'm going to launch it. We're going into a capital raise right now. You know what? Let me test this idea with you guys before we go. I've got about 10 minutes before I have to leave. We have a couple projects that we have to raise capital for. I'm thinking about doing like filming the whole process, like a day one of raising $10 million, day two of raising $10 million, et cetera. And like really showing people what it's like every single day to raise capital. Is that something you'd be interested in? Like, is that something you guys would be fascinated with? I'm considering just doing that. And if I do it, it's going to start in like a week and a half, I guess. It's probably when I'll have to start making these videos. Is that something you guys, yes, film it. Yes. Okay. I'll do that. All right. I'll start making those videos. Thanks. Give us your knowledge, bro. Look, if I make these videos of me raising capital, you are going to see a lot. You're going to see a lot of the stuff that people do not see. What's the best way to start in real estate with no skills, knowledge, or a lot of money to invest? You got to learn. I'd actually go to Bigger Pockets. Go to biggerpockets.com and start learning. They have a ton of resources for you to learn about it. That's what you got to do. Okay, I would love to see behind the scenes. Okay, Cameron, yes, I'm going to show it. Like, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and everything in between. Because the reality is when you're raising capital, you get a lot of no's. A lot has to come together when you're raising money. It has to be the right alignment of what we have and what the goal of the investor is. It has to be the right timing. Timing is a huge one. And then you get all the reasons other than that. Like even when the investment is right and timing's right, maybe, something happens like we were talking about earlier. They look at me and don't think I'm the right person to invest in, or they look at our business and don't think something we're lacking or something like that. So that happens as well. I'll show it all to you guys. I'll show you some of the challenges that our business has when we're doing it, how management goes of talking to investors and the whole relationship build throughout that. I'll totally do it. I think it's going to be a week and a half, 2 weeks. I need my realtor's license first. You don't need your realtor's license. I don't have my realtor's license. You don't need a realtor's license to invest in real estate. You need a realtor's license to sell real estate. That's something that a lot of people don't know. What's one flat ground skate trick you wish you still had? You know what? One trick that I never had that I wish I did was switch backside flips. I always wanted to be good at that trick and just never put enough time in to be really good at it. 1,000%. Hell yeah. Okay, we're doing it. Yes, please. I'm a videographer. I can help with that. And yes, that sounds awesome. Turkman, you want to be a part of it? Let's do it. You want to follow me around for 30 days and raise 10 million bucks? Let's do it. Shoot me a DM. Yeah, we'll run it. Or email Tawny, Tawny at communecapital.com. Jump in this process. See what it's like to raise some money. Since you have actual real estate, do you invest in REITs? Really good question. Okay, I don't invest in public REITs, but a handful of our offerings are private REITs. And I'm invested passively in a handful of our own offerings as well. So I do have investments in, like, our storage portfolio is structured as a private REIT. I'm invested in that on the passive side. Our lending portfolio is the same. And then some of our new funds coming out will be structured that way as well. And I plan on being an investor in those also. So yes, but I'm not invested in public REITs though. I mean, the reason why, like, I actually think public REITs are a pretty good option for those who aren't in a position to invest in a private offering, or that want more liquidity, because that doesn't typically come from private offerings. But for me, like we control our own real estate, so I would prefer investing in the assets I control than invest in assets that are the same as mine but someone else is controlling. All right. Man, looked up to you since City Stars, now this day financial advice. Nicholas, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, for real. Are you doing any talks or meetings in Las Vegas? What do you think of the market here? I don't have any talks planned in Las Vegas. The next talk I'm doing is in Ontario, which is actually, I think, going to be one of my larger ones. I think the largest audience I've spoken to so far is 2,000 people. Talking this summer in front of 5,000 people. So that's actually going to be my largest one yet. You the man, Mikey, always putting the work. Mustafa, I appreciate you, legend. Heck yeah. All right. Nice, will do. Okay, good. Epic. About to buy. Heck yeah, congrats. Hello, Taylor. I'm from Thailand. Oh gosh, I'm so bad with names. I'm going to butcher it. I'm sorry. Ingata, if that's how to say it. What's going on, legend? All right, I am going to run out and go see the squad. And I got to go. We're going to have dinner tonight, my wife and I, for our 13th year anniversary. Thank you guys for hanging out here. Have a phenomenal. Well, if you guys want to do this again, Tomorrow I could probably go live. Wednesday I can't for sure. So, hey Mikey, M Harb, if you have a question, I was about to wrap it up. If you have a question, drop it. I'll answer it. We'll do the last one there. Or if somebody wants to run one on YouTube, or oh dang it, that's my bad. Dang, I had the comments only on YouTube. I missed the Facebook questions. Oh, that's my bad. Dang it. Sorry, Facebook. Oh, sick. What time are you going live tomorrow? You know what? My calendar is on my phone. I'll shoot out a story if you want. I'll let you guys know. I usually go live around 4 though. All right. Hi, Mike. I'm in finance myself. I trade equity and ETF derivatives. Would love to connect. What's the best way to reach you? Hit up Tawny, TAWNY at communecapital.com. For N7 Prolific, do the same thing. My DMs, sometimes it's hard to get to DMs just because there's that account's so big that so many people hit me up that it's easy for me to fall behind. Email Tawny, TAWNY at communecapital.com. She gets everything in front of me. And then I'm gonna hit Kevion right now. All right, have a phenomenal rest of the day, everybody. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.